Let me peep the prices on this. So we got Means at 254. We got Euros at
The ad just gets bigger with. There you go.
So Euros is the more expensive fighter here, rightfully so. He's a pretty big favorite going up against Tim Means. And it's crazy. This is Tim Means is the first fighter on the entire card to be coming off of a win. Medic and every other fight before this only consists of fighters coming off of losses. Euros, his loss was to Oral By. And Means is a pretty gritty striker. He's pretty much known as a striker, but he'll definitely work in takedowns too. He has that karate style stance where he's always switching that lead leg. And like I said, he can also grind out a wrestling win if he needs to, can hang in the striking as well. Euros Medic, very clean striker, comes out fast and loose, has a 100% finish rate in his wins. And his takedown defense sits at 46%, which is a little bit skewed because of the 7 takedowns that he accrued in his last fight. Tim Mean coming off a win, like I said, but that win was breaking a 3-fight skid before that. And the person that he beat is no longer in the UFC. So it's like, nice win, Tim. But I think this is going to be Euros Medic all day long. He's younger, faster, stronger, the more dangerous striker. Means he's a veteran. There's a level of savviness that always comes with having that many fights in the UFC. He's 33-15 in his MMA career. And he could always take him down because he is a veteran. He has some wrestling in his back pocket. We do see that 46% takedown defense on Euros Medic, which could use improvement. But like I said, that is really skewed because of his last fight where he was taken down 7 times. So I'm going to go with Euros here. If Means can wrestle, maybe he can pull off a huge upset, but he's 40 and slowing down. Pretty high confidence Euros pick. He wins by finish every time. So I love Euros here on PS because he has that high KO potential. That's what I'm saying.
The Dalk. No, I'm taking the Doc. I think it's probably not worth investing in on PS potentially just because of the price disparity. Pretty significant favorite on a consensus site as well. But I think if you're looking to build up a whole card parlay or something like that, or a whole card parlay, or you're looking to throw something in, that Medic by finish is a tasty line to get yourself started.
For sure.
Oh, no.
Okay, so Pierce is 386. Onama is 360. So we got to pick him here. Jonathan Pierce is coming off a loss. He was like dominating Joe Anderson Brito. Then got submitted after pulling some really stupid shit, kind of like we saw Jalen Turner do. It was like the same vibe, just some real stupid redneck shit coming out of Jonathan Pierce. But he is a good fighter, solid wrestler, decent takedowns, good BJJ, almost 6 takedowns a fight. That points to him struggling a little bit with control when he gets on top because he has to shoot so many. But on the ground, he's generally looking for a TKO over a submission. And he's only been to decision 3 times in his career. Really fast pace, always moves forward, especially on the feet. And he is sort of like a take one to give one type of striker. Like he eats a lot of shots, but he is primarily a wrestler. Onama, good at controlling the pace, likes to come forward at you. He's got that really long jab that he always uses, usually gets to, but pretty low volume striker, rarely throws combos. And if you stay in his face, he doesn't really like that. He likes to come forward, send something behind the jab. And he can fall out of rhythm if you apply a lot of pressure. Type of guy like Jonathan Pierce can do that, does that in most of his fights. So I like him here. Um, Pretty much because of the wrestling on the Jonathan Pierce side, the pace. Onama's primarily a striker. I don't think he's going to be able to handle Pierce's versatility.
No, keep it rolling.
Yeah. Onama. Jonathan Diniz.
I get a StreamYard ad on YouTube like every day.
Oh yeah, it's
At
crazy. On my
least at least two. Hi, it's Dana from StreamYard. Respect though.
Yeah. So I'm trying to get to Austin. Okay, here it is. 290. Oh wow, Jonata is more expensive. I wasn't expecting that. So yeah, Jonata is like 20 cents more expensive than is Austin Lane here. Lane coming off a loss, Jonata, he's a contender series guy, undefeated in his MMA career. He's a really good striker, lots of technique, some nice power as well. Throws good combos, good defense. He's got pro kickboxing experience. Takedown defense is relatively untested, but from what I've seen, it looks pretty solid. He has 6 stoppages in his wins here. So Lane, former pro football player, Austin Lane, very big, very athletic guy. Started his MMA career about a decade ago, and he does a good job of like popping in and out of the clinch with strikes. He goes in and out, good combos, and then jumps right back out. He doesn't like firefights very much. He wants to either be on the outside punching away, kind of around the cage, or he wants to grapple with you. He really doesn't like to stand and bang at close range. Janata, I think, is going to be light years better in the striking department. We just watched Austin Lane get KO'd cold by Tafa. Denise has the same type of power as him, but a lot better technique and faster. And it's like with these UFC debut guys, it's kind of, we saw with Walter Walker, for instance, is a good example of this. So it's like you watch him outside of the octagon, looks amazing. Everything you see about him looks like he's about to go in there and just absolutely dominate. Walter Walker got into the octagon, looked like he had never seen the octagon before. So it's like picking these debut guys, you always want to see him in a UFC fight first, so you can't be that confident. But I think Janata, from what I've seen outside the UFC, looks a lot better, more skilled, probably more powerful than is the veteran Austin Lane.
Yeah, I like Denise. This feels like a spot for a fraud checking potentially, but when you can get a guy that's a pretty heavy favorite at a price that's not too dissimilar from his opponent, I feel like it's a huge spot on PS. I would probably stay away from this one if you're using a consensus site, just because a guy of kind of his inexperience level being that heavy a favorite does scare me a little bit. But on PS, this feels like a smash for me.
Yeah. Hmm. I don't think so. I mean, it's like they have debut fighters pretty much every fight, and I mean, it's like I don't know. Obviously, I've never looked at this, but I bet if you like look back and look at fighters that debuted on like numbered cards versus Apex cards, I mean, I would imagine it wouldn't be like all of the best guys who are still playing the UFC numbered cards. Like, I feel like it's probably more random than that. Yeah, definitely could be. Creating the dream. Yeah, unfortunately, I think this is probably going to be the best fight on the card. These are the only two fighters, or the only fight where both fighters are coming off of a win. Um, so should be entertaining. For a portion of Ariana's career, she struggled putting together sort of the different pieces and was a pretty one-dimensional fighter. Pretty much could only strike. That was her one thing. But recently, she's been grappling. She's been defending takedowns well. She has now defended 21 takedowns through four of her own within the last few fights. So she's added that part of her game. And we saw her submit Casey O'Neill, who was supposed to be a relatively big prospect in that division. So Ariana clearly putting things together. I think she's improving, which is something I always like to see in a fighter. It means like they could exceed your expectations for them the next fight. Um, and she was always a really good striker, but now she's more diverse. Kareem the Dream, 17 wins by stoppage, very powerful grappler, always looking for a submission. Um, she gets her wins through multiple, it's sort of like a mixed bag of TKOs, submissions, ground and pound. And she throws bombs on the feet, isn't or isn't technical at all, I would say, in the striking department. She uses the striking to get you to the ground. Once she gets you there, she has nasty control on top. And she's coming off a sub win over Marina Moroz, had a knockdown in the guillotine in that fight. Um, Lipsky has evolved. Um, not all of Kareen's 17 stoppage wins were super clean. Um, and it's like we don't often, like I said, we don't see one-dimensional fighters put the pieces together like Lipsky has recently. It's a very good matchup. I do like Kareem the Dream here. She's just dominant. I already have some action on Kareem. That being said, I think this could end up being the best fight on the card.
No.
Zarsevich, Zarovich. Let me see. It's the heir to a Russian czar.
Why doesn't he just make himself the czar?
That'd be kind of sick if Bogdan is actually a czar or like the
But
son
why
of
doesn't
the
he just
czar.
make his nickname the czar instead of like the heir to the czar?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I'm still next up. I know I'm 31, but I'm next up.
So sick. Yeah. Ryan Spann, Superman, very dangerous guy, absolute powerhouse. He's 6'5", so a giant with super long reach. I think it's like 80-inch reach or something like that. 21 wins with 18 stoppages, and he has wins by submission. He has one punch knockout power as well. I think that's kind of what he's more known for of the two. He can wrestle, though, averaging more than one takedown a fight. 12 of his stoppages in his career are by submission. And that is, I think, generally because people are really worried about how dangerous he is on the feet, his power, which leaves it open for him to snatch things up in the scramble. And he can be a threat for all 15 minutes because he has super good cardio for being so big. Bogdan doesn't have a ton of UFC fights, but he's a super exciting guy. Heavy handed, comes forward, is very fast, powerful in his striking. If he doesn't get an early knockout or have success there, he'll push you to the cage, look for a takedown. It's good control on top when he gets there. Not overly aggressive striking, but pretty good. Ryan is on a 2-fight skid, but I'd say they were pretty decent losses. The Nikita Krylov fight was sort of a mess. And I honestly think in that decision win against Anthony Smith, he probably won that. Um, but either way, quality losses. Ryan, he's more durable. He's huge. Think that'll probably be the key here. Bogdan may land a few good punches early on, but I don't know if it'll matter against a guy like Ryan. He has way more experience, hits way harder. I think he's going to wear over Bogdan over the course of 15 minutes. Kind of feeling a third round stoppage here from Ryan Spann.
Yeah, I like Spann inside the distance for sure in this one. I think Guskov is going to have to stay as the Zarovich. He's still next up. It's not his time. It's time to get a W here. I think Spann has the better chin and also has more power in this type of fight. And only 3 rounds. I like the guy that has a variety of ways to finish this one. He's had 12 submissions in his career, 6 KOs, so a variety of ways to beat you. He's experienced both on the ground and in his striking, and I don't see him just taking one punch and going down. So I like Spann here for sure.
I think it might be with a K. Oh wait, no, it's there we go. Bro. Oh man. Yeah. Yep. So awesome main event here. Both guys coming off losses, zero name recognition. Mateus was just knocked out cold by Brandon Royval, albeit Royval is, we know he's cold now. Alex Perez did look all right in his last fight against Mohamed Mokaev, where he lost that, but he doesn't have a win against a single active UFC fighter. Stepping up on short notice here, so you can't really blame him. Honestly, think they should have just made like the Ryan Spann, Zarovich fight the main card. Like, I don't see why this fight's better than that. But Mateus, really good striker, technical, pretty good grappler as well. 10 takedowns in his 8 UFC wins. When Mateus gets you to the ground, he has some slick control, works towards a submission, and keeps his position instead of chasing and getting reckless. Snapped a 4-fight win streak against Royval. Good fighter. I think I think he probably wins this. Perez, good striker, fantastic low kicks, good wrestling. Last win, I think, was like TKO by leg kicks. He comes in with solid combos, finishes those with leg kicks, averages more than 2 takedowns a fight, 82% takedown defense, coming off decision loss to Mokev, like I said. Perez looked like a dog in that Mokev fight, showed good skills in terms of his scrambles and stuff. But he was coming off of the layoff and was super low volume, just wasn't letting his hands fly at all. Did a good job of defending takedowns, working in scrambles, but I think he probably would have won that if he was throwing more strikes. And I think it'll be a good fight, good matchup. Mateus, technical striker. Perez is the dog of the two. I think there's definitely a chance that maybe Perez was able to get that last fight back out of his system, and maybe now he's ready to fight at full potential. And in that case, I think he could definitely beat Nicolau. But as I see it, like without anything changing, Mateus too fast, too accurate, does have the grappling skills in his back pocket. What concerns me, the only thing that really concerns me about him is the fact that he was just knocked out, always has a chance to do some permanent damage to somebody in terms of their chin. But yeah, I think Mateus will be calculated, accurate, and patient here. He's the pick to get back on track of the two.
Yeah, I'd lean Matias as well. I was excited when I think this was supposed to be Manel Kopp fighting instead of Perez, right?
It was. Or
I could see
fighting Mateus.
Yeah, instead of Perez. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would have been more excited for that one. I'm sure that's probably why it was the main card. And then when this happened, they probably just left Nicolau there. Yeah, I like your lean in this one. He's been more consistent, obviously coming off of a loss, but Perez coming off of 3 losses. I like the guy who's kind of had one skid and is only 31 or a year younger, I guess. I like him to get back in the win column as well.
All right, bold take here. We're going Tyrone Tracy, drafted by the Raiders.
Fuck off. We're not doing this shit again.
Yep, that's it.
Bro, if we do that, you will not see me here. There's literally maybe on day 2 or something I'd be okay with that. I'm going to say that in the last 5 picks of the draft of the first round, we see 3 receivers taken. So that is the Bills, the Lions, the Ravens, the Niners, and the Chiefs. I think Buffalo, Baltimore, the Niners, and the Chiefs could all be in the market for a receiver. I think you've seen some rumors with Ayuk. I think tomorrow could be a day for receiver trades. I think we could see T. Higgins and Ayuk potentially on the move tomorrow. So I like 3 receivers to be taken in that area. I think Ladd McConkey will be one of them. Probably Worthy is one of them. And a Brian Thomas probably somewhere in there as well.
Oh, I got another. I really like Jacob Cowing.
My next prediction is Max Crosby to be traded for a 7th round pick.
Oh, I also think Latu is going to get drafted in the top 15.
Yeah, he's a dog.